Hey, what's happening, everybody? It's your old pal, Mr. Butter, coming back at you again. Usually, I hate paying resale price for a pair of sneakers, but occasionally, I miss out on a pair that I want bad enough, and I end up going against my gut, and I pay resale prices for them. Today, I want to take a look at a pair I paid resale for, and I want to go over whether or not I'm happy with the purchase, or maybe even talk about if I have a little bit of buyer's remorse. If you're into kicks and you feel like hanging out, then hit that subscribe button. Let's take a look at this pair that I had to pay resale for. So for a lot of you that follow the channel and watch my videos, you may already have a good idea of what this pair is. I did actually mention in a previous video this year that I was contemplating grabbing this pair even though I missed for retail, but they had to drop below a certain price. I haven't looked at these yet because I want to kind of capture my first impression and everything on camera. I also want to let you all know if I think that it was a good buy or if I regret paying well over retail price for this pair. This year, I have been absolutely amazed at some of the heat I've been able to get retail W's on. I was able to hit the Unions. My cousin hit the brick by brick Nigels for me. I was also able to get a W on the Galaxy Foamposites, even though that wasn't in my size. Another pair is the SB Jordan 4s. I was able to get those for retail off of sneakers, and I just assumed that would be impossible. Up until now, the only other pair that I paid resale prices for was the Kobe Protros, the all-star pair that instead of just having all the snake scale overlays, it actually had stars on it. I just thought that was such a cool pair, and it's so different than every other Kobe 6, and for me, the black and white colorway makes them very wearable. I know a lot of people say that you can't wear Kobe's casually and that sort of thing, but it's just a pair I wanted in my collection, and they dropped to a reasonable price, so I went ahead and grabbed those as well. But this is actually only the second pair that I've paid resale for this year. And like I said, when I was talking about all those other pairs I was able to get for retail, there just hasn't been a need to pay resale. But anyhow, that brings us to this pair. I think this pair is special, and there are multiple reasons why I really wanted it. But enough of my yapping, let's go ahead and get into this. I actually had a standing offer for this pair, and my offer got accepted while I was sleeping one night. I woke up the next morning and had an alert that somebody accepted my offer. That's my favorite way of doing it whenever I'm paying resale, because you can really just set a price that you're comfortable with, and you don't have to have that FOMO or anything like that. You can really carefully think through it and think about what's reasonable to spend in your own mind. That way you don't end up regretting it as much. The box looks like it's in great shape. It's really just a standard Jordan 1 box, nothing out of the ordinary. The tag reads Air Jordan 1 High 85. The colors are black, varsity red, and white. I'm going to go ahead and show y'all a clip so we can see why I decided to go ahead and pull that trigger. Personally, I know I'm not going to be spending around $1,000 for them. If the bread high 85s
drop below $400,
I'll consider pulling the trigger, but anything over that, and I'm just going to wait. Because the truth is, I already have a lot of shoes that will give me a similar style, and they're just not worth that to me. All right, so these were $250 US for retail, and in my mind, I just knew that if they dropped below 400, I would consider it. I had a standing offer for $379 US. It got accepted, and I think all in, I was just over 400 bucks. It was under 410. And there's my first glimpse. And here they are, the Jordan High 85 in the bread colorway. These things are
absolutely beautiful.
I've heard a lot of people say that they don't really care for the 85 cut on Jordan 1 highs. I am actually in the minority. I love the 85 cut. I think they look more sleek, and they really are just closer to the original form whenever they were released. I don't really see anything on this pair immediately that separates them from the reverse bred 85s that I have. I'll do a little side by side as well, but I love the cut on these. I can tell on the toe that it is an 85 cut. I do want to compare these to my other 85s just so that I can see if anything really jumps out at me as different, because even though they've already made other 85 Jordan 1s, they said that these were going to be the closest to the originals that they've ever made. I think these things are beautiful. I love the Jordan 1 silhouette, both highs and lows, and I'm a huge fan of the bread colorway. It just doesn't get much better than this, in my opinion. One thing I noticed immediately with taking these out of the box, I heard a lot of people saying that the leather was really stiff, but it actually doesn't feel as stiff as my reverse bred 85. So I'm kind of pleasantly surprised that the leather isn't quite as heavy and as stiff as what I've heard. Although it does make sense that they put more stiff leather on these, just because that's what they used back in the day. It's all got a really smooth texture, and they do just look beautiful. I mean, they look about as sexy as a pair of shoes can be, in my opinion. Like I've said multiple times, I was just waiting for these to get to a price that I was comfortable with. I said in my video, if they drop below $400, then I would consider buying them. And I just had that standing offer of $379. Somebody accepted it. I got these a couple weeks ago. It might have even been like a month ago now. But now whenever I look on GOAT, it looks like the lowest asking price is around $430 in a size 10. I don't know if these will shoot to the moon. I don't know if value will skyrocket, but the rumors were that they only made around 25,000 pairs of these, which is very limited. But as I said in my previous review of the reverse bred 85s, those went up to around $1,000 for a little while, but then I finally grabbed them when prices dropped to around $300, and now prices are still reasonably low for that pair, and I think the production numbers were the same. I actually think production for the reverse breds was a little bit lower. I think those were limited to 23,000 pairs, and they came with an individually numbered dust bag. I really do wish that these would have been numbered, but then they'd probably be even more expensive on the resale market. So all in all, I'm just really happy that I have this pair in my collection. The left shoe did come with that same hang tag that we get on Jordan 1 High 85s. And just a quick side-by-side of my reverse bred 85s and my Jordan 1 High bred 85s. I don't really see a huge difference. I guess the texture on the midsoles is a little bit different, but I don't really see a huge difference in the shape or anything. For my reverse bred high 85s, it looks like they're more tall and slender. The standard bred 85s are a little bit more squatty and just a little bit stockier. I love these colors on the Jordan 1, and really in a lot of ways, this is the sneaker that started the whole shoe game as we know it. As I take more time to look at both versions of this shoe and really look for differences and that sort of thing, then maybe I'll find more. But to me, this 85 cut looks a whole lot like this 85 cut. I mean, the shape and everything else is just very similar. So I did kind of expect for there to be more of a difference, but I love the 85 cut on Jordan 1 highs, so it's no surprise that I really love the original bread colorway. I am very pleased that Nike and the Jordan brand decided to re-release these as close to the original form as they could get them, and I think it's a wonderful looking shoe. These are definitely staying in my collection. Whenever I paid resale for these, I had actually just sold the Cool Gray 9s, and then I also sold the Spider-Man Jordan 1 highs. It wasn't the first one, it was the one with all those mismatched panels on it. And while I like both of those shoes, I don't really wear 9s that much. And then for those Spider-Man Jordan 1 highs, I have the Chicagos, and then I also just recently hit the Union, the Chicago Shadows, or whatever you want to call them. So I have other Chicago type colorways of the Jordan 1 high, so I just knew I wasn't going to miss that Spider-Man pair. So I sold both of those pairs, and that basically covered the cost of this pair. And I don't have any regrets. Like I said, we were going to take a look at it and see if I had any buyer's remorse or anything. I don't regret it at all. I think these things are absolutely beautiful. Whenever you're talking about, you know, important or significant sneaker releases in the history of the shoe game, I don't know if there's any pair that has more history to it than the 85 Jordan 1 high in the bread colorway. I do prefer the Chicago colorway just because I like the way that the white breaks it up a little bit. So my favorite Jordan 1 high in my collection right now is my Lost and Founds. I've actually been wearing them a good bit lately, and I can say those are my #1 favorite Jordan 1 highs, but these are right up there with it. This is definitely my second favorite Jordan 1 high that I have in my collection. I really do love this pair, and I don't regret paying around $400 for it at all, because you never know when pairs like this are going to come back around. It is easy for me to pass on most pairs that I don't get for retail, just because there's always more shoes dropping, and what's hyped today is going to be forgotten about tomorrow in most cases. But I don't have any pairs of the Jordan 1 high breads from 1985. I am smart enough to know I'm never going to have an actual pair from 1985. So with this pair being the closest that I'll ever get to owning that original pair, I really just thought that it was worth it for me to go ahead and grab them now. I don't mind trading out the Cool Gray 9s and then those Spider-Man Jordan 1 highs for these, because to me, it's worth it. I don't regret this purchase at all. I can tell a difference between the 85 cut and standard modern Jordan 1 highs, but with that being said, the modern Jordan 1 highs give you the same style. It's not like you see this and it's like, oh, those are 85s. They really all just look like Jordan 1 highs to me, but as a collector, this was a pair that I really knew that I wanted. The tread pattern is exactly what we'd expect. I think on these 85 cuts, the pivot point is a little bit smaller than what we see on the modern Jordan 1 highs, but the traction pattern has remained basically the same. It's just a little bit different here and there, but not enough that you would notice it. Then as we come up to the midsole, the texture that we have on there, that is definitely different than what we see on modern Jordan 1 highs. And also the shape of this midsole, it kind of comes up at a more dramatic slope and then remains up higher towards the back. And that's not exactly the same on modern Jordan 1 highs, but like I said, it's very close. If you weren't looking for it, you might not even notice it, but it is a little bit different than what we get on modern Jordan 1s. This is just a bright white color with bright white stitching. They didn't give a sail or off-white. They didn't try to make these look aged at all. They wanted these to look like a brand new pair from 1985. Then as we come up to the upper, we have very, very thick cuts of a very smooth leather. There's really no texture on this at all, but for our mudguard and then our side panels and our eye stays, as well as up around the collar, it's just a smooth black leather. For our toe box area where we have those perforations, and then for around the heel and the overlay up on the collar, that's all in a varsity red. The Wings logo is a little bit different from 85 cut compared to modern Jordan 1 highs, but again, it's similar enough that you're not going to notice the difference unless you're looking for it. I think the leather that we have for our swooshes is different than the red leather that we have for the rest of the red parts here. This does seem like it might be a synthetic material, but that's nothing out of the norm. Most of the time, whenever we do get Jordan 1s, a lot of it is genuine leather, but we do see that we have synthetic leather for the swooshes. I don't mind that at all. These did come with 2 lace options already through the bottom 2 eyelets. We have a black and then a red flat lace. I will probably rock the black in these the first time I wear them, but to be quite honest, I'm just going to appreciate them for a while. I don't plan on wearing these immediately, especially because I have those reverse spreads. They kind of give you the same style. I'm just going to hold on to these and look at them and enjoy them in this form for a while. I do plan on rocking these, but for the time being, I'm just going to appreciate them in hand for the moment. We have a black nylon tongue, and this feels a little bit different than what I'm used to. I don't even know how to describe it, but it just feels a little bit silkier. It also feels like there's a little bit thicker padding in these compared to the rest of the Jordan 1s that I have in my collection. But the tongue is all in a black color, and it's got black piping going along the edges. Then we have a black tag that has some red Nike Air branding there at the top. We got a black sock liner on this pair, and one of the details I really like about 85s is that you see the size inside the collar there on the sock liner, and then it's also got more numbers. I guess that's just like the product ID or something like that, but I like that little detail that we get on 85s, just as a nod back to the originals. All right, so that was a quick rundown of this pair that I decided to grab for resale prices. I don't have any regrets. I would do it all over again if I had the opportunity. Like I said, I don't wear 9s that much, so it's not like I'm going to miss those cool gray 9s. And again, I have plenty of other Chicago style Jordan 1 highs, so I'm not going to miss those Spider-Man Jordan 1 highs either. I do have other pairs that are on their way here. The newest Action Bronson 990 V6 will be here soon. And then I was also able to get the latest Jumpman Jack from the Travis Scott website. I don't even think those have shipped yet, but as soon as they get here, you know I'll be making another video of them for y'all. There's plenty more coming. You know I'm going to be grabbing as much as I can. If you are not subscribed to the channel yet, then go ahead and hit subscribe and help me out. I am on a quest to get to 25,000 subs in the year 2025, and with your help, I'm going to get there. Let me know if you all have paid resale for any pairs this year, and let me know what you grabbed if you did. I'm not really looking for anybody to tell me whether this was a wise purchase or not. I don't really care if value goes up or down. I just know that for me, it made sense to grab these at this point, and I am really, really glad that I have my personal pair in my collection. I hope you all have a wonderful day. I appreciate you all watching tremendously, and I will catch y'all on the next one. I'm out.